Welcome to Solar Age, the podcast that shines a light on the path to a brighter, more sustainable future. Join us as we explore the transformative power of technology in creating a Solarpunk world.
Hey Solar Age listeners, and welcome back for another deep dive with us. This one is going to be electrifying. Literally, we're all about that Solarpunk future, right? Limitless clean energy and all. And guess what? It's closer than we think. Today, we're going to check out how some of the newest tech can get us there.
Yeah, it's a super exciting time to be following clean energy for sure. The landscape is changing like crazy, and there are so many opportunities now for people to make a real difference.
I love that. For this deep dive, we're going to go deep on this video. It's by solar expert Zach Solar. He's got some really fascinating insights on how the rules of the solar energy game are changing, but more importantly, how we can adapt to not just survive, but thrive in this new world.
You know what's really interesting here? Zach actually argues that this shift, the one from net metering to net billing, it seems bad at first, but it actually forces us to think differently, more strategically about energy independence, kind of pushing us closer to that Solarpunk ideal.
Okay, so for our listeners who maybe haven't had their coffee yet, can we break down exactly what that shift from net metering to net billing even means?
Oh yeah, for sure. So in the past with net metering, it was like a simple trade with the utility company. You send them your excess solar energy, they give you credit at the same rate that you buy energy from them. Simple, right? But with net billing, utilities are valuing that solar export less. They're offering a lower wholesale rate because in a lot of places, solar has just taken off. Like there's so much of it now, and there's just an abundance of solar energy during the day when the demand isn't really there to match it.
Yeah, it's like when everyone's at work or at school. Zach actually calls this the duck curve.
Exactly. Think of
Right.
it like a seesaw. When solar production is high, grid demand dips way down, but then as the sun sets, it shoots right back up, creating this imbalance.
Okay, so too much solar during the day, not enough in the evening. Got it. But this isn't like a roadblock on our Solarpunk highway, right?
Yeah, no, not at all. It's actually more like an opportunity to create these even more resilient and independent energy systems. Zach actually lays out 3 specific strategies for thriving in this new landscape.
Ooh, I like where this is going.
Yep.
Let's dive in. So the first one, become your own power bank. What does that even mean?
Well, this is where home batteries come in. Instead of sending that excess solar power back to the grid for a low rate, you just store it in a battery and use it later. You basically become your own little energy provider.
Oh, that's so cool. I never even thought about it like that. It's like having this giant battery on wheels.
Yeah, it's a great example of how we can rethink our whole relationship with energy. Instead of just consuming it passively, we can be active participants in managing and storing it. You can use that stored energy during peak hours when electricity is expensive, and you have backup power during outages. Plus, you can even participate in programs like virtual power plants.
Okay, hold on. Before we move on, can you explain exactly what those are?
Sure. A virtual power plant is basically a network of all these connected home batteries. They're all managed by software to act as one power source. It's like Solarpunk in action. Decentralized, community-driven solutions that create a more resilient and sustainable energy system.
That is so cool. So instead of building a massive new power plant, we can tap into the collective power of thousands of homes with solar and batteries. Love it. Okay, what's Zach's next strategy?
Strategy number 2 is right-sizing for maximum impact. This one might seem a little counterintuitive. You'd think more solar panels is always better, but that's not always the case in this new energy landscape.
Okay, so what's the right approach then?
It's about optimizing your system for self-consumption, not just maximizing how much energy you produce. Zach calls this a daytime-focused system. So instead of having this massive solar array sending tons of energy back to the grid, like a tiny return, you focus on a system that meets your daytime energy needs directly.
Oh, that makes total sense. Especially with those less favorable net billing rates we talked about. I bet it's good for the environment too, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If you think about the bigger picture, it aligns perfectly with Solarpunk principles of efficiency and mindful resource use. It's about working with the sun's natural cycles, not just trying to overpower them with a ton of panels. It's a much smarter approach to solar energy.
Love it. I'm ready for strategy number 3. Hit me with it.
All right, this one's called Hack Your Energy Habits. It gets into the behavior side of things. So technology is only part of the solution. We also need to adapt our energy habits to align with solar production.
Okay, so it's not just about what tech you have, it's about how you use it.
Exactly. One of Zach's tips is to pre-cool your home with AC during those peak solar hours. So instead of blasting the AC when you get home from work and the sun's going down, you can use your excess solar energy to cool your house down in advance.
Oh, that's smart. So you're basically using the sun to do the work for you. Then when the sun sets, you can let the temperature go up a degree or two without even noticing a difference.
Yeah.
So strategic. What other energy hacks does he suggest?
He also talks about running those energy-intensive appliances, things like laundry or pool pumps. During those peak solar hours, again, it's about shifting your energy use to when you have that free solar power available.
These are such simple but powerful changes. It makes you feel like you're really in sync with the sun's rhythm, almost like you're working together to power your life.
Right. It's about being more mindful of your energy consumption and finding creative ways to harness that solar abundance.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about storing energy, right-sizing your solar system,
Yeah.
and hacking your energy habits. These are all really practical steps that anyone can take, even if you're just getting started with solar.
Yeah, and they're all crucial pieces of building this more decentralized and resilient energy future, one that really aligns with that Solarpunk vision we're all striving for.
It's so empowering to realize that we don't have to just wait for the world to change. We can start making those changes ourselves, right now in our own homes. And that brings us to a really interesting question.
I'm listening.
So if we can successfully implement these strategies and shift to this new energy landscape, what does that even mean for the future of our energy grid? What could that future look like?
That's a great question, one that gets right to the heart of that Solarpunk vision. Imagine a world where the energy grid isn't just this one-way street, with power flowing from these big centralized power plants to consumers.
I'm picturing something more like a web, with energy flowing in every direction, from homes, businesses, even electric vehicles.
Exactly, this distributed network, where individuals can actually generate, store, and even share their own energy. We're talking about a real energy democracy here.
That's such a cool concept. But how do we even get there from where we are now? Like, what are the steps we can take?
Well, the strategies that Zach outlines, those are a great place to start. As more people adopt solar and batteries, we're kind of laying the foundation for this decentralized grid.
It's like each solar-powered home with a battery becomes its own little mini power plant, contributing to this more resilient and flexible energy system.
Right, and with all the smart technologies and AI, we can optimize all these distributed resources to work together seamlessly. Imagine a neighborhood where homes are sharing their excess solar energy with each other, reducing reliance on the traditional grid.
Like a neighborhood energy co-op, powered by the sun. I love that.
And it's not just limited to neighborhoods. We can scale this up to entire cities, even regions.
So instead of relying on a handful of large power plants, we have this distributed network of clean energy sources, all working together to create a more stable and sustainable system. This all sounds amazing, but I have to ask,
What's that?
what about the people who can't afford to go solar or get a battery? Are they just left out of this energy revolution?
That's a super important question, and one that we need to address head on. This transition has to be equitable and inclusive. We need policies and programs that make sure that everyone can benefit from clean and affordable energy, regardless of their income or situation.
Right, it can't just be something for the wealthy. It has to be accessible to everyone.
Exactly. That's where things like community solar projects, energy cooperatives, and these new innovative financing models come in. We need to think outside the box and work together to make sure no one gets left behind in this transition.
It sounds like this shift to a decentralized energy grid requires a whole new way of thinking, not just about the technology, but about our communities and how we support each other.
Absolutely. It goes hand in hand with the core values of the Solarpunk movement. Community resilience and sustainability. It's not just about the cool new gadgets. It's about using technology to solve real problems and create a world that's better for both people and the planet.
Zach's video and this conversation, it's really got me thinking, what other possibilities could open up if we really embrace this vision of a decentralized energy future?
Well, one really exciting possibility is the rise of microgrids.
Ooh, okay, tell me more about those. What are microgrids?
A microgrid is basically a self-contained energy system that can operate independently from the main grid.
So like these self-sufficient energy islands, powered by renewables. I could see whole communities, even cities, becoming energy self-reliant.
Exactly. And what if these microgrids could then connect? and share energy with each other, creating a truly resilient and adaptable energy network.
Wow, that's incredible. Imagine if the main grid goes down. These microgrids could keep the lights on. Hospitals running communities connected. It's like the internet, but for clean energy. A distributed peer-to-peer network that's more democratic, resilient, and sustainable.
It's a powerful vision. And it's not as crazy as it might sound. The technology's already here. We just need that collective will and creativity to make it happen.
I think that's what makes the Solarpunk movement so inspiring. It's not about waiting for someone else to fix things. It's about taking action ourselves and building that brighter future one step at a time. I love how Zach's strategies give us a roadmap for that journey.
Me too. It's exciting to think about. It's like we're on the edge of a whole new era of energy, one that's cleaner, more equitable, and more empowering.
And this is just the beginning. As technology keeps evolving, who knows what other innovations are coming?
The possibilities really are endless. And that's why this conversation is so important. We need to keep exploring these ideas, pushing the boundaries, and inspiring others to join us on this journey towards a Solarpunk future.
Absolutely. And we want to hear from you, our awesome listeners. What are your thoughts on this new energy landscape? What questions do you have about the ideas we've talked about today? What excites you most about the potential of a decentralized energy future?
And what topics would you like to see us explore in future deep dives? Leave us a comment below. And let's keep this conversation going.
It's kind of wild to think about, right? We're not just talking about like a tech shift, but a whole cultural one too.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's about changing how we think about energy, from these passive consumers to like active participants in the whole energy system.
And Zach's strategies really show how we can empower ourselves starting right now.
Exactly. We don't have to wait for the government or some big invention. We can start making changes today.
It's like taking control of our energy future and building a world that actually matches our values.
And it's a future that's totally within reach if we're willing to embrace the changes and work together.
This has been such a great conversation. I hope our listeners are feeling inspired and ready to go make some changes.
Me too. Remember, every step we take, no matter how small, it gets us closer to that Solarpunk vision.
So keep those comments coming, Solar Age listeners. We love hearing what you think, and we'll want to keep this conversation going.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the future of energy.
Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and keep shining bright.
If you enjoyed this episode of The Solar Age, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button so you won't miss any future episodes. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below about what resonated with you or share any ideas you'd like us to explore in upcoming episodes. Let's keep the conversation about a brighter future going.